I was always told that actually you'd never really succeed in doing very much with my life. And that was all the way through my childhood.
Richard Blake was diagnosed with a learning disability at an early age, but it was in his teenage years that he first realised he had gay feelings.
Unfortunately, in special schools, you never had any sexual relationship training or any sex education. It just didn't happen. So, in the time when I was going through it, it's a bit like actually, what are these feelings? What is happening to me? Why do I fancy this person? And you don't understand the reasons why, because you start thinking, is it just a learning difficulty, or do I have something else wrong with me as well?
Richard might not have known it then, but his experience wasn't unique. In 2005, academics at Bristol University's Nora Fry Research Centre published groundbreaking research into the loves and lives of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender with learning difficulties.
I think LGBT people with learning disabilities have all of the same kinds of experiences that anybody who's gay faces growing up, disabled or not disabled, feeling like you're the only person in the world, feeling that you're very different, feeling that you can't share that. I think what becomes different as they grow older is that it becomes very difficult to express your sexuality if you have a learning disability, because society in general expects you to be asexual or to not be interested in sex.
Richard still hadn't come out when he went into residential care at age 19, but when he started living independently, his feelings about telling his care workers changed.
I wanted to have a relationship, and when you live independently, you have what they call person-centered reviews. And you have like a monthly review or a yearly review. And for about 3 years, all they wanted to talk about was how am I doing with spending, what my life with doing my own laundry, cooking and washing, and actually all very important things to talk about. But I wanted to talk about having a relationship, and for every single time it was brought up, it always seems to be, well, we can talk about that a bit later on, but we never actually got to a point of talking about it. It always sort of like got swept under the carpet. What I decided to do was to have a review who were people I wanted to invite, so I could say to them, look, this is who I am, and this is the support I need.
Richard's revelation got a reaction which shocked him.
The first responses was, oh, it's just a phase we're going through. We're not going to do anything at the moment because we think you'll get over it, and actually in a couple of months' time you may be thinking differently. Being able to give the confidence, be able to say this, and then being told it's a phase, it's sort of like 1 minute you're on a high because actually you come out and you're actually telling somebody, and the next minute like you're almost on the floor thinking, oh my God, why did I do that? Why have I just said that? Have I just made the biggest mistake by actually telling somebody this? It made me feel like it was wrong. It made me feel actually the support I needed and wanted, I may not get anymore.
People that we spoke to in our study, when they reflected on their experiences of bullying, discrimination and homophobia, I suppose what was most alarming or distressing was that it very often came from very close family members, but also from staff in services, where people often got a very clear message that it wasn't okay to be gay.
Now aged 26 and fed up with his sexuality not being taken seriously, Richard finally decided to speak out.
I got the confidence to be able to say to somebody, look, this is who I am, you're being paid to give me the care I need, and this is part of my care I need some support to be the person who I am.
Eventually, Richard decided to make a formal complaint.
My support became the best support you could imagine. So I think if I hadn't done that, I hadn't put that complaint in, then the support would never have actually really changed very much.
There's quite clear policy about how people with learning disabilities should be supported in different aspects of their life. There's been 2 major white papers, and they're quite clear that sexuality and relationships are a topic in which people must proactively be given support. And we found very little evidence of certainly proactive work of services thinking, what are we going to do to try and help support people?
Richard had still not come out publicly by age 30. Then, during a trip to London, he chanced upon the gay scene.
It was slightly scary because actually I didn't know this area even existed. And for me it was like, do I turn around and go back into my hotel room and not come out anymore this evening? Or do I actually go somewhere and actually go for a drink? I just went and found a little corner, went and sat in a corner, had a glass of wine, and that was it. I didn't really speak to anybody. And actually, it's not as bad as what people say it is, because social workers and support workers will always look at the risk. They will never look at the enjoyment first of all. So if you say to a support worker, I'm going to go into London and go and hit a couple of gay nightclubs or a couple of gay pubs, the first thing they're going to start thinking of, are you safe? What's going to happen? God, all of these things could happen to you. And obviously support workers have a duty to say these things to you. Actually, this might happen to you. But I do think sometimes they make it more scarier so people don't try things.
I think that what people need is, and what people said they wanted, was their support worker to actually go with them, certainly in the first instance, to a gay venue and just help them understand a bit more about what's going on here, how does it work, what should I do, how should I be, and to have some support in those first instances.
I think it's about wrapping people up in cotton wool, and I think it's about releasing some of that, releasing that person to actually make mistakes, because it's life. You don't go through life without making mistakes.
I think the important assumption to challenge is that somehow there are classes of people who are entitled or capable or competent enough to access inner emotions around sex, sexuality and love, and there are others who are not. And I mean, that's the challenge to services to think about and to find individual solutions and individual ways of supporting people to express their needs.
Richard is now proud to be out. He's co-chair of the National Forum for People with Learning Disabilities and leads sexuality training for care workers.